Hello friend, welcome back to Toyota Maintenance YouTube channel. Here you can see with me very cute 2003 Toyota Echo. I'm sure you can guess what is this part. So, as you guessed correctly, I'm going to be replacing right now valve cover gasket on this 1NZFE engine. If you wanna see how I do that, stay with me in this video. And let's begin this procedure with removing these 4 nuts which are holding this plastic cover. Let's see how it will go off. Oh yeah, it's very easy, and the whole cover is gone. I will continue with disconnecting the coil wires, all 4 of them, pushing on this little tab which releases the connector. And after that I will use again 10mm socket here, and I will remove the coils. So these are the screws, right? And I will remove the coils. I will keep them in the same order, right? So this number 1, I will make sure will go back to the number 1, 2, right? I just keep them organized. I will continue with disconnecting these 2 hoses. There is a simple clip here. This is one of them, right? That will give me a chance to put it away. It doesn't bother me later. And here is the second one. These are also connected to the valve cover, so that's the reason for removal. I also want to have a play in this wiring harness, so it's held with these 2 plastic tabs, and to release them from the holder you just push on the small tab here, and that should let me move it up. Did you see that? So this just moved. I don't want to bend anything, there's not much space around this AC hose, but this one is nicely off, right? And I will do exactly the same with this one. So far it was all 10mm bolts, so let's see if everything will be 10mm. I still have it here. Here are 2 bolts holding the valve cover down. So, and these are also, you see that black rubber crusher washer, these are part of that set. We will be replacing those. So these are those 2 center bolts removed. And believe it or not, that means we are ready to start removing those bolts and nuts which are on outside or outer edge of that valve cover gasket. Here, this holder is actually in the way of another 10mm, so I'm going to remove this. Right, so that I'm putting it back, and I finally can get right there is another 10mm. Here we go. Nice, and I'm using this time different magnet. So there was one here. Now where is the other one? I'm looking around. Can you see this? Yep. Here is another one. So that's a 2. I have here is a nut holding it down. There is basically stud, and that stud will help us to nicely, correctly place it down, the valve cover. Here is a bolt. here is, if I continue here is a nut. So that's another stud, right? You can see the nut. Now, where are we? Here in the back is another bolt. And I will probably need to switch the socket from the long one to the short one, otherwise I will not get down there. So I have a shorter one and I can continue, right? So there is another bolt right here. Again, this is all 10 millimeters, as you can see. That was a nut, 10 millimeter. Here will be another bolt, right? That's another 10 millimeter. Let me look down there. There is one more in the very corner, right here, but you will see it again. So that was another 10 millimeter. And if I'm correct, I will check, but if I'm correct, that's all what we needed to remove. Of course, I will give you nice detailed shot of it, right? So here are the bolts, the hardware I removed. And this is how I went around. You see those exposed areas. This is the stud, right? That was a bolt. Here is another stud, and so on all around. I cannot get camera behind, but you got the picture. I should be able to remove that valve cover right now. So I know I removed, or I believe I removed all the bolts. Will the cover just pop? Oh, this one, did you see it? Actually gave up. I didn't need to do any careful prying somewhere, because you have to avoid damaging the surfaces, right? But this one, despite the fact it wasn't replaced for a long time, nicely gave up. So I will carefully, again, making sure I don't damage anything, pay attention. I will carefully lift the valve cover up. You can see it nicely right here, right? That's awesome. And the gasket is missing, it's not right here, right? So that means it's still sticking to the engine. And of course I will give you again the detailed nice look, right? So you see that black here, that's that hardened gasket, which is not nice and flexible anymore, right? This thing, the rubber, became hardened by the heat and it's not sealing properly anymore, and that's the reason why we are replacing it right now. And here you can perfectly see the beauty of the easy and fast maintenance on these small vehicles, right? If we were doing valve cover gaskets on the V6 engine, that's a completely different story. So here I will carefully start peeling off that gasket, failed gasket. You can watch me, right? So I'm taking it off. I don't want to make any mess. And this gasket is in one piece with the tube seals, right? These are the spark plug tube seals, so I keep just taking it off carefully. If there was any mess, I don't want to drop it anywhere. This one on the number 1 spark plug was actually already slightly leaking in that spark plug tube. So again, another reason why we are getting rid of it and installing the new one. Here is a great chance to start cleaning off everything, right, with the rag and preparing those surfaces for installation of the new gasket. Before I will move on that, I still want to show you the stretch of this chain, right? So this is a timing chain, it's not a belt, but look how little stretch is there, right? This is very tight. The movement is minimal, and therefore all the timing and everything, it's perfect. You can always observe these cams, right? These lobes, if everything is nice and in good condition. This one gets a frequent oil changes, so everything is very nice. And of course this cleaning, it's very important if you want to prevent future leaks, right? So I'm spending extra time on this. I will be not rushing this repair. The owner is my friend, so I want to have it perfect.